What if I told you that the Great Sphinx of Giza might be thousands of years older than what we've been taught, and the biggest clue is water damage? Yes, water damage. A theory so controversial it challenges the entire timeline of human civilization. Let's dive into the forbidden history of the Sphinx, and the evidence they don't want you to question. The Great Sphinx. It sits silently on the Giza Plateau, staring east as it has for millennia. Mainstream Egyptology says it was built around 2500 BCE, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. But what if this timeline is completely wrong? In the 1990s, a geologist named Dr. Robert Schoch examined the erosion patterns on the Sphinx. He wasn't an Egyptologist, he was a scientist who studied rocks and weathering, and what he saw shocked him. The Sphinx doesn't just show signs of wind erosion, it shows deep vertical weathering, consistent with heavy, sustained rainfall. But here's the problem. The Giza Plateau hasn't had that kind of rain in over 9,000 years. That means, the Sphinx might have been carved long before ancient Egypt even existed. But if that's true, who built it, and why? Mainstream archaeologists quickly rejected Schoch's theory. They argued the weathering was due to wind and sand, not water. But many independent researchers weren't convinced. They pointed out that other structures on the plateau, built at the same time, don't show the same kind of erosion. Only the Sphinx and its enclosure have these water-worn walls. It's quite fascinating, don't you think? Could this mean the Sphinx predates the pyramids? It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it? Let's look deeper. The Sphinx is carved directly from limestone bedrock. Around it is a trench, the Sphinx enclosure, with walls bearing the same water-induced erosion. If these marks are from rainfall, then we have to look back to a time when Egypt had a very different climate. It's intriguing to consider, isn't it? That would be during the African humid period, roughly between 10,000 and 5000 BCE. This was a time when the Sahara was lush, green, and filled with lakes and rivers. So was the Sphinx built back then? That would mean the Sphinx is at least 7,000 years old, more than twice as old as the pyramids, and possibly one of the oldest megalithic structures on Earth. The implications are staggering. If a civilization capable of carving the Sphinx existed that long ago, where are the other traces of them? Why don't we find their cities, their tools, or their writings? Some researchers believe we actually have, but that history has, ignored or maybe even suppressed the evidence. Let's not forget, the head of the Sphinx is, honestly, disproportionately small compared to its body. Some theorists suggest it was recarved at a later date, possibly during the time of Pharaoh Khafre. Could it be that the body is truly ancient and the head is a more recent addition? And there's more. In the 1980s, researchers reportedly found anomalies beneath the Sphinx using ground-penetrating radar. They claimed there were chambers and cavities hidden below its paws, possibly containing unknown artifacts or records. Egyptian authorities denied any such discoveries, and access to the area remains strictly controlled. What are they hiding? Some even connect the Sphinx to the lost civilization of Atlantis, a culture said to have possessed advanced knowledge only to vanish in a global cataclysm. While that might sound like science fiction, ancient flood myths exist in cultures all around the world. Could a disaster around the end of the Ice Age, 12,000 years ago, have wiped out an earlier civilization? And was the Sphinx their legacy? What's certain is this: the traditional timeline of history may not be as solid as we think. And when geology contradicts archaeology, we need to ask deeper questions. Why are theories like Schoch's so quickly dismissed? Why does the establishment cling to its version of history, even when the evidence doesn't add up? History is written by the victors, but truth has a way of carving its own path. The Sphinx remains silent, but its scars tell a different story. A story of rain, erosion, and a forgotten chapter of human history. So the next time you look at the Great Sphinx, don't just see a statue. See a mystery, a whisper from an ancient world we've yet to fully understand. And ask yourself, what else has been lost to time? Because sometimes, the biggest secrets are hidden in plain sight.